Welcome to HPA 400, the Principles of Public Health Management. This week, we will introduce the topic on controlling, the last principle of public health management. In this session on controlling, you'll learn several key steps on controlling an organization. There are different types of control found in organizations and agencies today. Regulatory process and the importance of control to organization, the basic role of control, and the three major steps in the control process. You will also understand the key elements of internal and external control standards, the gap concept involved in comparing actual performance to desired performance, and how managers use contemporary management techniques to improve performance and increase productivity. There are also tools to help managers repair any deficiencies they see. And last, you'll focus on contemporary control approaches and how managers can achieve organization goals utilizing the balanced scorecard methodology. The process of controlling is to establish the standards necessary to achieve organization goals. The purpose of control is to identify deviance and deficiencies in performance and take corrective action. Organizational control is determined by the mission and vision of the organization. Remember the mission and vision statement that we discussed early on this semester? Revisit those chapters. Goals and strategic plans of the organization are the drivers of organization control. It helps the manager determine if the activity helps the company meets their goal. Control frameworks keeps the organization function, process, and tasks on track. It focuses on the challenges facing the organization, anticipating future events, and taking advantage of strategic opportunities. This is where the opportunity to visit the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. By establishing the SWOT analysis, which you will learn early on this semester, you'll have a better understanding of how to control your employees' performances and how to meet the organization mission and vision. There are different types of control. Normative control is governing employees' behaviors through accepted patterns of behavior, such as team norms or organization culture. This represents a shared form of control. They're implicit, evolving around organization values and belief. There are three ways it is created: through the hiring process, hiring applicants based on their attitudes and values, sharing organization stories, values, and beliefs in the new employee's orientation, and through team norms and organizational culture. There are benefits and disadvantages. For example, in team norms, which is described as informal implicit team rules and responsibility, the advantages are that there's common goals that leads to great employees' involvement, collective power, allows group synergy. However, the disadvantage is that it may result in self-preservation, may lead to group mobilization, and groups are susceptible to groupthink, which then discourage innovative thinking out of the box. Organization culture is defined as shared organizational beliefs, values, and traditions. The benefits of organization culture is that it allows organizational commitment that leads to better employees' loyalty. The organization may be able to build strong culture without being very rule-bound. However, the disadvantage of organization culture is that it can be overpowering culture, which can be invasive to employees. It may disenfranchise employees, may not find work meaningful, or lose faith in the organization. Another type of control is regulatory control, which is the process of governing employees' behavior by establishing bureaucratic controls, financial controls, and quality controls. It's driven from top-bottom and has long-standing policy and procedures. It can be inflexible and very rigid. So here are examples of regulatory control. Bureaucratic control is generally defined as a form of standards, operating procedures, and very formal and explicit. The advantage is that standardization encourages outcomes are predictable, allows efficiency in routine problems and solutions, and can lower training costs. However, the disadvantage is that the rules are sometimes difficult to dismantle. Organization may become too rigid, inflexible, and slow to respond to customers or stakeholders or to market change, and there be tendency to be punishment focused. Financial control, a subset of regulatory control, is based on management and control of key financial targets. The advantage is that it has been shown that it is a proven method to assess the strength of an organization. Investors and analysts can gain insight into companies' financial performance. The disadvantage is that financial measures are past-oriented. Linking rewards to key financial target may lead to short-term decision-making. Managers may be tempted to focus internally and miss external factors such as stakeholders or customer satisfaction. The last is quality control, which is defined as the acceptable level of variation in a product or process. The advantage is that product defects are uncovered and reported prior to distribution. It increases likelihood of quality products, reduces risk of recall and dissatisfaction. The disadvantage is that visual inspection relies on competence and integrity of the employees. It requires collection and shifting of data by knowledgeable personnel. Establishing standards is an important part of control. It is the basis of comparison for measuring the degree of whether a workplace performance is satisfactory or unsatisfactory. It is necessary to understand the internal environment and external environment, then to create a plan and monitor the environment. Monitoring is used to actively seek and obtain a variety of information to gain a thorough understanding of the organization and its environment. Internal standard is the process of setting and monitoring systematic performance standards in an effort to ensure workplace tasks and activities are effectively and efficiently conducted. There are three techniques and types of internal standard. They are the standardization of work skills, standardization of outputs, standardization of work processes. Standardization of work skills includes the hiring of employees who possesses the knowledge, skills, and ability to perform a skill task. Standardization of outputs provides employees with precise products, quality, and performance specification. Standardization of work processes involves developing rules, regulations, operating procedures to reduce and eliminate employees deviating from the set standards. On the other hand, external standards is a process of systematic scanning the environment and identifying best practices. Best practices are methods and techniques that consistently drive superior results. Industry-wide best practices define the guidelines and methods that represent the most efficient course of action for procedures and processes. They are set and governed by authority. Benchmarking is a process of comparing a set of products and customer metrics, measurements, and performance from one organization to another. Goals is set performance matrix and measurement for your organization based on those similar organizations. Organizations often select peer and aspirant organization as comparison. Benchmarking involves peer organization are those in the same industry with equal or similar scope and size. It allows managers to plan improvement. Aspirant organizations are those in the same industry but with a better competitive positions or a leader in the field. This allows managers to develop future organization strategies. There are a couple types of benchmarking that focuses on the process, performance, and strategics. The advantage is that it can be applied to any organization function or process. It is flexible to be low cost, low technology, and more robust, and can be applied internally and externally. Setting control standards require formal target settings. Standards and performance are used to measure performance targets against actual performance. It includes quality, efficiency, innovation, safety, and responsiveness to your stakeholders. Departmental managers develop organizational units' performance standards and goals. Functional managers develop specific performance targets and standards for different functions under their responsibility. Setting control standards involves the alignment of performance standards, that they are harmony of goals at each level. There's collaboration and coordination that is required to ensure performance standards supports the organization's strategies and goals. Performance standards should be clear, specific, realistically set, derived from core organization functions, process, and tasks, and is used to help employees to understand what is expected from them. Gap analysis helps managers compare a department's actual performance against established performance goals and standards. This is a three-step process. First is the current state. Recognize what is by identifying and listing current and actual performance level. Second, future state. Recognize what should be by listing defined and established desired standards. And third is highlighting the gaps. Identifying the distance between what is and what should be. So identifying step 1 and 2 and the difference, and that is step 3. Once gap elements are determined and defined, a root cause analysis can be conducted to determine the factors contributing to the gaps. A root cause analysis is a method of problem solving that identifies the preliminary cause of discrepancy or deviation. It is helpful in understanding performance discrepancies for new organizational settings, changes in performance or functions, and to prioritize and allocating resources. This diagram illustrates the continuous cycle of improvement. It's an ongoing and dynamic effort to improve product, service, process, and tasks. The goal is to improve organization efficiency, effectiveness, and flexibility by identifying opportunities for improvement. The fourth step of continuous improvement cycle is to identify opportunities for improvement in process and workflow. Second is to plan how to improve the workplace process and procedure. Third is to execute the change by implementing the select plan. Fourth is to review and monitor how the change is working. And as you see that this is a continuing cycle. Once you review and monitor how the change is working, you go back to step 1 and you continue to identify opportunities for improvement in the process or workflow. This is an example of a balanced scorecard. It is a performance matrix tool and semi-standardized report to identify and improve internal functions resulting in external outcome. It is used to align organizational activities to organization strategies and to monitor the performance of strategic goals. The balanced scorecard has the characteristics of it being a mix of financial and non-financial metrics and data. The focus is on monitoring a limited number of mission-important data items. Selections of mission-driven metrics and data items are driven from the strategic agenda of the organization. Balanced scorecard is starting to gain popularity because it compels managers at every level to examine each of the 4 areas, set specific goals, and measure performance in each categories. It ensures organizational alignments, improving communication and accountability. It allows managers to develop strategically focused plans, empower cross-functional teams to align functions and systems from a shared vision. It enables strategic settings of priorities and products. Take a closer look at this example of a scorecard and how it relates to vision and strategy. In one of your case studies in the next couple weeks, you will be analyzing a specific case and you will have the opportunity to perform a balanced scorecard using a very similar matrix. So study this chapter well, and I'll see you on Blackboard.